Hello. Good morning. How's everyone been? I hope the weekend has been lovely. And the week prior was lovely. I have not gotten proper sleep at all, so I'm very sleepy. But I really wanted to stream. Because I like streaming. So I'm probably gonna do some doodling. And then work on that Lima picture. Because it's cute and I want to finish it. Okay, let's swap on over. Stream primary. We're gonna be a little clown today. Because sometimes even when you're sleepy, you're a little clown. And that's just the way of things. I like this new album that Louison put out, The Aquarium City. It's really good. It's a good vibe. His music is always really nice, but this one's 10 out of 10. Put it with all my other little Louison music. Actually, I need to put my other playlist too, I think. Yeah. On my stream playlist right now. So there's gonna be Louison albums after this, but then it'll be like Jazz Hop Cafe and stuff. But I also just have a playlist of just his music. It's pretty good. I like it. Sometimes I listen to it just while I'm working and stuff. He's a talent of our generation. I know I said that with a joking tone, but I really kind of mean that, actually. He's phenomenal. Ugh, hang on, let me time my... Ugh. Okay. What did I need to do? Oh, I need to connect my tablet to my computer, that's what I need to do. That would be helpful for streaming, is if I do in fact stream it, you know. I'm not gonna lie, I'm so sleepy, I was very tempted to just boot up Final Fantasy and just do that instead. Hi, you Crypia, good morning! Happy Sunday! How are you doing? Yeah. I was like, do I want to just go Final Fantasy and do crafting stuff? But all the stuff that I'm doing in Final Fantasy is in Dawn Trail areas, so I don't want to spoil anything. Happy Sunday chilling at home. Nice! That's the best way to spend a Sunday. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. Oh, my blanket is covered in fur. That's fine. That's it. Oh, it's shedding really bad right now. Which is fine. That's nature, baby. Fam is away, and I'm just in relief that I can have some quiet. Yeah. That's a big part of why I wanted to stream today, is my folks are out for a few hours. I was like, this is precious time that I could stream without them. Oh god, sorry, I whacked my microphone. I don't know if that got picked up. Without them vacuuming and stuff, because they like to do that when I'm streaming. They'll wait, and then they'll do lots of really noisy chores to make the dogs bark and stuff. That's why I don't stream more often. Am I connected to my iPhone? Yeah, okay. No, I don't want the color drop. No. Okay. Let me not swap. I'm already swapped. Let me there we go. Do some scramble bumblers. Yep. I did though, even though I'm very sleepy. So when I'm like, if I have a night when I just literally do not sleep at all, like I get like 2 hours of sleep, I like the next day I get a weird surge of energy. And so my Friday night going into Saturday was that night when I got like no sleep, right? I went to bed a little earlier than usual for me, but then I couldn't fall asleep for a while, and then by the time I finally fell asleep, I then woke up 2 hours later at like 4 in the morning. Actually, I think and then I was awake until like 9 AM, and then I finally fell back asleep again for like an hour. Which really stunk. Stunk big stinky shorts. But then when I did finally wake up and do stuff, I was like, now I have a surge of energy. Because I guess sleep deprivation does that to me. And I like cleaned a whole bunch of stuff. And I made brownies. I made homemade brownies. They're so good. Streamathon unlockable my homemade fudge brownie recipe. It's just that good. It's really good. It's also really easy to make. I'm a pretty lazy cooker, so I like easy recipes. If I make it, you know it's chill. Anyway, that's what I did with my Saturday. And then I hung out with the homies last night. Hung out with the besties. I couldn't remember the name besties, okay. I had it yesterday, I just cleaned my rooms, and since I'm doing DPS leveling, I may do it for the shelves. Yeah, because you're gonna be sitting there for 800 years. It's so painful. The queue times are so painful right now. It wasn't so bad because I was like, well, I need to level like my white mage and my dark knight anyway, so I can steal those queue times because those are my genuine secondaries. So I'm a flex. Yeah, average wait time next expansion, dude, literally. But now I'm like, I've leveled those two classes, so now the only other things I'm leveling are Dancer and Pictomancer, which is what I'm drawing, by the way. And then my next, if I want to like recap all my classes, so I'm like, well, I can do more tank and healer queue times, but I have to relearn. I have to relearn Astrologian was my next healer bane. I guess my healer secondary, rather. But it's been so long since I played it that I was like, I looked at my hotbar and I was just like, I don't know what any of these buttons do, and I don't know how to play this class. Like, I remembered what all the buttons do, but I was so focused on like, this is how I play white mage. And Astrologian, even though it is now categorized as a regen healer, it's almost kind of like a delayed regen. So you're not quite a shield healer, but you are still like a preventative healer? It's a very strange playstyle now. I kind of wish they had just left it as it was at Shadowbringers, where you could swap back and forth. But they didn't want to do that. Sage, I don't remember how to play at all. I was never very good at it. I didn't need to be, though. I was just leveling it to level it. And Scholar, I never learned how to play. Because I was learning it from, like, base up. But I got overwhelmed by the amount of buttons very, very quickly. So I don't remember now. So all my queue times are gonna be really long, or I'm not gonna remember how to play the class. Tank I'm not too worried about. Hi Blue, good morning! Hello! How are you doing today? On this fine Sunday. I think it is a fine Sunday. It's sunny out. It's lovely weather where I am. It's just nice. Nice out. Over my eyeball. How's the weekend been treating you? I was trying to hold off on Scholar, but I did it because boyfriend wanted fast queue. Yeah. Yeah, to be honest, I really kind of wish I had been able to level my other DPS classes sooner, because I prefer DPS, but it was like my friends I was playing with were leveling their DPS and or / wanted tombstones, but then it would have been 3 DPS, so we literally couldn't. So I was like, well, I guess I'll heal. I don't really want to, and I would prefer to use my DPS so I could get tombstones, but it's fine. Now we're doing the raid series anyway, so I'm just getting that gear. Need to make crotch. Extend crotch. Enhance. Okay. Got so much cleaning done yesterday. Yeah, dude, yesterday was cleaning day, it seems like. I did a bunch of cleaning and Eucryphia did some cleaning too. Everybody's cleaning. Oh, pardon me. I cleaned my bathroom, so it was getting kind of grungy. I hate cleaning the bathroom. I hate cleaning the bathroom because I feel like I need like goggles and a mask for the chemicals, but then I feel like my mom's gonna make fun of me. And I'm like, do I want to put up with her, or do I want to not get blinded by chemicals? Which has happened to me before. Fun fact. I have in fact gotten like Lysol in my direct open eyeball because it flicked off the brush and assassinated me. It was very painful. What are we drawing today? I'm just Scrumble Dude and Popipo, my Final Fantasy XIV character, because I'm very sleepy. And then I'm probably gonna work on that like summary Lima picture of my character. That'll be like the big thing, but I wanted to Scrimble Bumble first. I'm probably making this kind of nicer than I should, but it's still gonna be kind of scrumbly. Ah! I did think about working on like D&D stuff, but like I don't know how interesting it is to look at my Google Doc. I know we kind of did that like a few weeks ago, but I don't know how fun for people that actually want. I can work on that anytime. Okay, I'm gonna move this also. Kind of in a weird spot. Ah! No! Not an eclipse of the heart. I'll put this here and I'm gonna like move on. Tube. Get tubed arm, idiot. How do you hold a pallet? I've actually never used a pallet. You do kind of bend your arm like that and then up. Okay, what if I do this? So it would be like, you kind of like hold your arm like this, almost. Then it's like you're holding it in your hand. Your hand is like, your thumb goes here and then your hand would reinforce it. Or balance it, rather. I guess kind of like that, TBH. I guess that's fine. guess I'll have to turn this. She's kind of using a square palette right now that I think is kind of... IMHO. Ah, no, not the thumb. Okay. Although actually kind of the thumb. Round it out. I said I need to round it out more. Oh, it's on this layer. No, it's on this layer. Oh my god, I was like, where are these very specific pixels? Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I know I just hemmed and hawed over it. I'm gonna give it like an angle. Get out of here. Yeah. That's fine. She kind of looks like she's holding a pizza pie, but it's okay. It doesn't need to be that serious, I guess. I mean, look at her feet, for God's sake. If you guys are working on stuff, what are you guys working on? Or maybe you're just chilling. This is a chill Sunday morning. That's good too. Today's music makes me want to play Animal Crossing. Yes! I'm listening to Louis' song. Old Louis' song. I've been replaying it lately. I literally just get on, like, maybe water a plant, clean up my beach, find the money tree, check the stores, and that's kind of all I do, but like, it's chill. It's very cozy. 10 out of 10. I know people complained about they're like, oh my god, there's nothing to do. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I like about it. You gotta make your own fun. I like that. Oh, why did I do that? Popipo. I thought about streaming that too instead of drawing. I was like, that's kind of a chill. I drew her thing and then I just covered it up, whatever. I was like, Animal Crossing is chill. We can just run around. But my stick drift is really bad. Actually, I guess I would have just used my other controller then. Yeah, that's fine. It's really bad though. Like, there will be times that I'm trying to run, like, to the right, and I'm, like, full-on pushing it as far right as I can, holding the B button to run, and my villager's just standing there. It's like... you can see it's like a physical fight with the controller. It's like, please. Please just go. Really bad. Hope he's got like diesel here. He's my little Popipo. I need to draw her falling off of something. That was kind of the theme for Dawn Trail, is I kept falling off of things. there's a cliff edge, you know I was going off of it, baby. I don't really know why, it just kept happening. My favorite was I was playing with my friend Scarlett. Scarlet Harlot, and she was like standing at a quest NPC, and I was like on the level above her in the town, and I was like, oh sweet, I'll just jump down there and like shortcut it instead of walking around. That was a mistake because I jumped, realized I was above like a giant like pit. And I just literally, I jumped, oh no, and then I fell. And it was like comedic. It was like classic of her like standing there talking to like the NPC. And here's like the railing for the pit behind her. And then here I was above, and I just dropped down at high velocity. Like off the corner of her screen. It's really good. Like the wedding. Exactly, the guy falling in the background. It was literally. It's really funny. Couldn't have done that kind of comedic timing if I tried. It's so good. I don't know why Popipo kept falling. Then there was another part where I was like, I'll jump off this cliff, no problem. And my friends also jumped off their cliff. And because we were like trying to get somewhere, like story-wise. And I was like, no problem. Somehow when I fell, because in Final Fantasy in 14, you can't die of falling damage. If you do, you just drop to like 1 HP, which is kind of nice. But I don't know if like something was like an enemy was like aggroed to me. And so their auto attack killed me because I fell and I instantly died. And I was like, what just happened? And it was great because where I had fallen amongst like rocks and stuff, they almost couldn't get me for a second. So I was like, please, I don't want to release and have to walk all the way back here. I was like, please revive me, please. I don't want to walk. And they got me. It was just very funny. Well, people just kept beefing it. I don't know. Something about Dawn Trail. They weren't kidding. That Dawn can trail. It's very silly. Little round cheek. Oh, her cheek looked like that. Okay. Actually, since we're listening to Louis' song, what are we listening to? Are we listening to his jazz album? Charlie Brown's Day Off. Cute. Health damage just kill you if you're in combat. Yeah, I think because the auto attack they'll swipe you, which is really funny when you get into combat before you crash on the floor. Yeah, I think that's what had happened. I think like something had aggroed me at like the top of the cliff, and so when I landed, even though there was nothing around me, it was like, well, it still hits you. And I'm like, but it didn't. Because I've done the opposite, is I'll aggro to something as I'm running around, and Popipo's auto attack will like one-shot it. And I'm like, well, that didn't need to happen, Popipo, and I did it. But she had the bloodlust, so I guess it can't be helped. Little Popipo. It's funny. I just really kept whiffing at this expansion. That's unfortunately the kind of player I am, is I'm really, really bad at stuff when I very first do it. Like, I'm astronomically bad. But once I've learned, I'm good. You just gotta be patient with me as I whiff it the first few times. What did I hear? It was something like... was like about like being bad at like game mechanics. I was like, and then there's me where I'm so bad at mechanics and I keep dying, which causes a TPK, and then I become a mechanic in the fight. I was like, hey, that's me. That's me. Popipo's got like a little sunflower hat back here. Popipo steeper. Oh my gosh. Hang on, I gotta turn off my fan. Crying out my already very sleepy eyeball. Okay, or at least I had to just turn it to low. Okay. A silly little game. What a silly little game 14 is. I gotta level up my crafters. I have to level up my botanist. I have to, on principle, keep my botanist high level, because that is technically why I started playing the game. I was like, I don't really like MMOs, I probably won't play. And then it was like, well, you can do this job, in which you literally just pick flowers and like gather stuff. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm in. And that's what I did. I literally only started playing the actual game and like the main story because I needed inventory space for all the stuff I was collecting. I love watching the little clown glide ball. Yeah! She's got opinions even when I'm not here. Oh. I don't know where this is. Oh my god. Horn dogs shuffle. Wow. Oh my god, I can't see on my left eye. There's nothing wrong with it, it's just pretty dried out. It's getting all blurry. Oh, sneaper. Oh, sneaper. Okay. Pizza pie. Ah, that was a bad eyeball. I've really been enjoying Pictomancer. I was really worried I wasn't going to, because it's like, oh, Suki, you're an artist, so you're gonna love Pictomancer. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe. Don't judge me. Don't put me into little labels and compartments. But it's actually really fun. I felt like I was gonna be obliged to like it, but I do actually genuinely like it. It's very fun. I love a good mobile caster. I hate standing still in video games. When I was playing Guild Wars 2, my boyfriend was climbed to the top of a really tall house, and I was in the bottom. And he was, as he was falling, he said, "Wait, does this game have fall damage?" And then died. Yeah. Yeah. Most MMOs I think do. I think WoW does as well. It's a good way to find out, though. Generally, the only MMOs I've played regularly are Elder Scrolls Online and then Wizard 101. Yeah, I never really played MMOs, because frankly, we just couldn't afford it growing up. I know that there were like free ones, but it was the youth of the internet, so it was like you still kind of needed access to it, whether it was knowledge or what have you. So we never really played MMOs growing up, even the free ones. And then I kind of personally don't really like playing games online because people are kind of mean. They're like, I'm playing this game for fun. I'm not here to get bullied. I'm here to have fun. So I tend to not play online games, but all my friends were playing 14. And I wanted to play with my friends. So I was like, well, I'll try it out. It has a free trial, and it seems like I don't even have to actually play it. I can just do botanist and just, like, explore and collect things. And I did that for a while. I did enjoy it. But then I needed inventory space, so I had to do MSQ. And then I was like, okay, I'm invested. Actually, that's not true. I hated A Realm Reborn. A Realm Reborn was painful, but I had put in so many... They got me with sunk cost fallacy. I had invested so much time at that point that I was like, I guess I'll just keep going. And then when I got to Heavensward, I was like, okay, I get it. This is a very good game. Wait. Chigo. One. Not a huge fan. Yeah. Yeah. And it did help that the general 14 community is pretty chill. At least like the server that we are on is pretty chill. They're pretty like welcoming of RP or casual players and stuff like that. So it was a good fit for my playstyle. I know that there are other data servers that are more dedicated to like PvP or raiding and stuff, that they're a little more competitive, but like that's what the server's for. So I kind of like, I get it. I think everyone's kind of on the same page there. The 14 community would be perfect if they would just stop petting me like a dog. That's my one qualm with the 14 community. Just because Popipo is short, she's not a wild animal. Please stop touching her. I'm begging. I know some Lala players like it, and they buy into the bit, and that's really cool and great for them, but I, IRL, have very big don't touch me issues, and so it's actually very, very uncomfortable when people touch me even in video games. Not to sound like a millennial, but it's actually quite triggering to IRL very bad experiences. So people could just stop touching me. Final Fantasy 14 perfect community. 10 out of 10. Hello, Rampant Bacon! Welcome in! Good morning, good afternoon / early evening for you. Happy weekend. Happy weekend. I've only been harassed twice in all my time playing 14, which is a lot less. Yeah. Yeah, and like, generally, I always have more good experiences than bad, which sucks because the bad experiences do, like, stick out in my mind, but I know that they're few and far between. I never gotten to do proper RP and MMO because I'm not comfy doing it with strangers and my friends. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Anytime we would go to, like, RP venues, I would kind of just sit in the back and, like, people watch, which I like doing. So even that kind of worked out. I was never able to get into, like, proper RP. Especially with Popipo, I was like, I kind of started to make, like, some lore and stuff for her, but it never really fully clicked for me. Which is okay, because I still like playing her. I still like her as, like, an MMO character. She's my little EBTB. Popipo. I always prefer to just RP with my friends. Kind of the same as you. Make all the lore in the world for my characters. Yeah! I think... excuse me. I have trouble personally with, like, creating lore for characters that are, like, in a set fictional place. So if I were to, like, make a fan character for, like, a book or a movie or a game or something, I usually have trouble doing that. There might be, like, a spark of, like, ooh, I have an idea, but it doesn't usually last very long. And MMOs are kind of the same. And I feel like it'd be like, well, hang on now, but you play D&D and stuff. It's like, yeah, but to be honest, when we play D&D, like, we use, like, the quote-unquote Faerun setting, but then we usually end up changing so much about it anyway. that it kind of just becomes a semi-original setting. Like all the characters I just don't act on. That's so fair. You should write like little anthologies where it's like not a full book or anything, but just like little snippets and stories. That's always fun. And they're all compiled in one place for you to like look back on. One of my friend groups go wild with wall lore, so I just went wild. Yeah! Open up ESO again. Yeah! I've heard ESO's really fun. Layla also plays it, and I think one of our other friends, Wyatt. And they try to get me to play it all the time, but I was like, I don't really want another MMO. I feel like I probably would enjoy it, because I really like Elder Scrolls games. I'm like, do I have the emotional capacity for another MMO when I'm already very genuinely invested in 14? Pope Sneeper. I want to do a comic about Olivia, but then I get sleepy instantly. Yeah. I was actually looking in my Final Fantasy 14 folder before stream. Also, I feel like this is going to be the only scrungly doodle I'm doing, so I'm gonna just drop it. It has a nice big canvas so that I could, like, potentially do other stuff, but that's not gonna happen. Not centered at all. Yeah, but I was, like, looking in my folders and I was like, oh, there's actually kind of a lot of, like, sketch comics in here. I have no memory of making these. So I'm kind of tempted to look at them after stream. I'm sure they're all very, excuse me, cringe and self-indulgent. Because 14 did get me like that in a few ways. But then I just never really committed properly. Main quest has a lot of single player quests, which I really liked. Yeah, so I didn't have to like dive into raids and teamwork coming from an exclusive. Yeah, that's actually what I really like about 14. And this is not, I'm not trying to like advertise it. I'm just in a way to relate to what you're saying is that's part of why I like 14 is because you could feasibly go through like 98% of the game, the actual main story part of the game, completely solo. Because the story itself is you are canonically a single player, like you're a single character. And then when you do like dungeons and trials and stuff, you're like calling in like your fellow adventurer friends. So you technically are still like the main character, quote unquote. But now they're even going so far as they're like putting in little AI, I know it's a scary word, but like AI, like NPC, like bots that play as like the canonical characters to go through the dungeons and trials with you. So you could at this point feasibly do almost the entire main story without interacting with other players. It's fun to interact with other players, and I like playing it with my friends and going through stuff with my friends. But it's actually kind of nice that you don't have to. If either like you don't have players, like people playing the game with you, or maybe you're just kind of shy, or maybe just that day you just don't feel like interacting with other people, you know? Which is nice. I appreciate that there are plenty of things to do with other people, but you're never really obligated to, which is nice. I try my best to ignore feelings of cringe because it's just my SRD finding excuse. Yeah. Yeah. I wish I was free. I wish I was the cringe coyote that we have pinned. I wish I was cringe but free, but I'm not. I'm not. I'm doomed to be forever embarrassed by everything I do. Kind of shocking that I could stream, actually. Do I dare? Oh, I wonder if I just got a delivery, if that's what they're barking at. Let me check my email real quick. I hear them barking in the distance. And they've been quite content this whole time. Yeah, because my stuff should be delivered today. Which was very silly because they were like... I just ordered like small stuff, and they were like, oh no! Like, the estimated delivery date was like... You know, like within a week or something. I was like, that's fine, not a big deal. And then they emailed me of like, it's gonna be late, I'm really sorry. And I'm like, you don't, it's fine. I expected it in a week anyway. Like, I don't think it's gonna be late. It's fine. Because their estimate of like, it's gonna be late was like, oh, it's gonna arrive on Sunday now. And I was like, well, I was expecting it like in a week anyway, so it's fine. I'm not cringe-free, but I do my best. Yeah! I think everyone should be cringe-free. Cringe is dead. I mean, it's not, because we all experience it. But I think we should be free of it. Live your life and have fun. Opening up ESO and setting up to spend the next 3 hours waiting for it to update the game, because oh no! Oh no. Hopefully it won't take too long. Hopefully it'll go fast. Okay, I do kind of want to leave Popipo's face on a different layer. Oh, Sneeper! She's got just a couple freckles. Doesn't have a lot of freckles. But I like freckles. I think they're cute. Actually, I probably could have just... And then I do want her to, like, be covered in paint. Here's her little palette. Yeah. I'm always shocked by how long Cooking Simulator takes to update. Anytime it has to update, it will just sit there forever. I'm like, Cooking Sim, are you good? I didn't think you were that dense of a game, and yet... And here we are. I mean, for sure she's gotta have paint on her hands. Of course. Do you think Elder Scrolls 6 will ever come out? Do you think we'll ever see it? Will Todd Howard ever release it from his mind prison? I sure would like if it did. Yeah. Yeah. I imagine the team would also very much like if it released, because I'm sure they have been working on it even before Skyrim released. Skyrim released in 2011. It has been over 10 years. Goodness. I miss it. I miss it every day. I should go back to my little Oblivion file that I had going. I don't remember what I was doing. I think I was just doing aimless side quests, and I've now over-leveled myself for the main story, and that's gonna be a big issue when I finally go back to it. Hope Sneeper! I have Popipo on a palette. Let's see. Got all these characters that I frankly need to delete. I don't have a Popipo palette. Surely I must. Yeah, here I was like, I could have swore. I do. Oh, what am I doing? I specifically made sure all the lines were enclosed so that I could just fill tool this. This is meant to just be a doodle. Okay, I'm gonna make her spooky so that I can just make sure that I... Spyro's winning though. They're on track to release their new game. Yeah! I'm kind of excited for Veilguard. As a very casual Dragon Age player, I'm not like super into it like other people are. But I enjoyed Inquisition. I liked the idea of Origins in 2. I don't know if I could say the same for my experience of actually playing it, but I liked the story. I am excited for, I guess 4 now. Right? Because Inquisition would be 3, Veilguard... Yeah, Veilguard will be the 4th game. Also, I'm a creature based on, like, fueled by spite, so the more that people are like, the art style is so ugly, and I'm like, well, now I like it more. When the truth is I'm frankly indifferent to it. Like, it's okay. It's fine. Like, it's fine. I don't think it's as bad as people are giving it ire. I really don't. I think it looks okay. Yeah, like, I think it's fine. I don't think it's amazing, but I don't think it's bad either. I think it's fine. You can tell who all the characters are. I can actually see what's going on. It's not just pitch black, which is always nice. I hyperfixated Dragon Age hard back in the day, so it's like a sleeper agent in my brain has been activated. That's really funny. Oh my god, I forgot what Popipo looks like. I know one of her little cowlicks is like pure green. I don't think it's her, the one at the top of her head. I think it's the one coming out of her ponytail. Let me double check real quick. Just use this, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna just draw it in. Like bearish. Don't ask me why I'm doing it this way. I don't really have a reason. I just like that. Yeah, I don't think I really even got particularly attached to, like, any of my player characters in, Inquisition. Or not Inquisition, but I meant, like, in all the characters. I said Inquisition because I was thinking, I was like, I think probably my Inquisitor was the closest one that I got, like, super into her character. But I think even then I was like, I don't actually fully understand what's going on, so I don't know if I can really emotionally attach myself to her the way that I would normally. Hulk Sleeper. My Hawk I definitely never really got attached to, because to me I was like, Hawk kind of is like an established character, it feels like. Like, yeah, you could make your own, but they feel like a character that kind of already has like their own personality. Whereas the Warden and the Inquisitor feel more kind of just make your own. They feel more anonymous, so to speak. Which is fine. Which is a-okay. Pork. You know what? Where is my Popipo reference? Pictures. Oh, you know what? I'll just look at the commission that I got from Spencer. Because it has this outfit. And also, she looks really cute. I forgot her socks. I'm a bad artist. Forgot my own character socks. Her legs are gonna get cold. How could I do this to my daughter? I think Popipo's like a knick-knack to me. She's like a knick-knack on my shelf. I feel like she's like not a fully realized creation, but I really love her, so it's like... I'm very attached to her in a capacity. Great news! My ESO download has reached 3%! It is on track to finish within 5 hours. Holy shit. Oh my god. Good grief. Oh, I drew her little bandana wrong. Eh, whatever. I'm not fixing it. This is a doodle. I think it's allowed to be a little wrong. What do you expect me to know what my own character looks like? God. What kind of a world do we live in? Thank you, Zenimax. Very cool. Yeah. I think some games are just denser. And that this, again, this is not a knock. Baldur's Gate 3 would also take a very, very long time to download. On my last computer where it was super borked, like the memory was really borked, it would take like 8 hours to update. But even on like my current one where the internet and the memory are a little bit better, some of the updates will still just take a really, really long time. So I think some games are just kind of like denser in a way. Which is unfortunate because then they take forever to download. It's like, please. Please, I want to play some time today. Please. Begging and screaming and crying. I really like her palette. It's really cute. Also made does not remember what it looks like at all. Okay, we're done color dropping. And again, like Cooking Sim also takes a really long time for some reason. Oh my god, Paleo would take forever too. Paleo was really... I miss playing Paleo because when I played it, it was really fun and it was sweet, and I really like all the updates that came out in like the past few months. I want to play them so bad, but the game is it's just coded so poorly, and I know that because it takes up so much room. Like it takes up so much memory. And I was like, okay, well, you know why it takes so much memory? Because it's not coded properly under the surface. And so it's all bloated. It's not coded efficiently. Oh, work. That's not even my dog working, that's someone else's dog working. And so, like, updates would take forever, and then when they would update, it wouldn't work. I literally had to stop playing the game because I couldn't progress the story. I had to do like, I had to, like, cook a thing, and the cooking was broken. So, I literally could not finish the game. I couldn't finish the main story. Because I had the bug where every time I stood at the oven, I would just freeze and I couldn't get out of it, and then the dish would time out and be burnt, and I couldn't finish it. I'm like, well... Oh, Palia. So every time they're like, there's a new story update, I'm like, must be nice. I'd love to play it sometime. But alas, I can't. I can only imagine when the Elder Scrolls 6 does come out. I can only imagine how long that's gonna take to download. I've always played the games on console initially, and then like in time I re-downloaded on like my Switch or PC or whatever. But by then, like, years had passed, so they were fine. 500 years probably, yeah, to be honest. Make this a little bit more blue. I'm excited. Do we even know what the setting is gonna be? Now that I think about it, like, do we know like what country it's gonna take place in? I don't know if that was ever established. Oh, I can't have blue and blue. Okay, let me do. I have red and red. Like a little puzzle. I'm gonna put red here, then I'm gonna put... Now I need more yellow. There. There was speculation years ago that it would be the Redguard place. Oh, Hammerfell. Ooh, interesting. I'd be cool with that. Sounds fun. Warples. I want pink because the pink looks good with her green in her hair. Go for some Warples. Where's my Popipo palette? Oh. Popipo. swear Popipo's not like a Pokemon, I just like saying her name. She does have capability of full speech. Doesn't just say her name over and over. Speculated everything under the sun at this stage? Yeah, the next Elder Scrolls the moon, then Starfield happened. Yeah. But that Cyrodiil and ESO is the one PvP's. Oh man. Use the PvP, I'm so bad. Yeah, I don't really do PvP either. Even in Final Fantasy 14, where it's really not bad. If you don't care if you don't care about being good at it, it's fine. But even that, I'm just like, I don't know. I just don't have fun doing it. There's nothing against it, I just it's just not a play style for me. You know. Popipo! Let's give her some little blushy. A little blushy. Her nose. I want to also, like, do this with her eye. Yeah, whatever. Why not? I just like the PvP unlocks in 14. Yeah, I hate how many, like, fun rewards and stuff are in PvP in that game. Because I really want so many things, but I'm like, then I gotta do PvP. That's fine. This doesn't need to be like fancy. I do appreciate Crystalline Conflict because Crystalline Conflict is really chill and it only takes like 5 minutes. So it's very easy to be like, I don't care about what's happening because it'll be over in 5 minutes. Whether I win or lose, I get points anyway. I get credit towards whatever I want in the little... whether it's an emote or gear or whatever. All I care about. I'm still gonna put in my best effort. Like, I'm not just gonna throw the game, but I don't get competitive like I normally do with stuff. What is this song called? This is called Tiger Claw by Louis Zong. It's from his Tropical album. Good. Like... just do a little of that, you know? Louis Longus. Yeah. Sounds like it would play in Desert Temple. Yeah! I really like this set of albums that I have playing. Like, we did Aquarium City, Jazz, Apples, Mushroom Music, now this is Tropical. Up next is Vegetable Soul, and then Nature. And they're all really good. I need to use them for like D&D and like little idle music. Oh. Oh. Oh my gosh, excuse me. Do we want to do like a little... I do wish Procreate had like the auto line feature that other programs had. I'll usually just do it by hand anyway, but it would be nice to just touch a button and the program does it for you. That's why whenever I make acrylic charms, you know my ass turns into a shell and I pull up Photoshop to double check all my colors and spacing and stuff. Submit the form. But also we have a work subscription for Photoshop, so kinda like, well, I guess I might as well. We have to have it, so even if we don't use it a lot. My mom used to use it a lot when she did photography, but it's mostly me that uses it for color corrections and stuff if I'm ever making charms or what have you. I should make stickers. I've never tried making stickers before. Yippee! Popipo! She kind of looks like a little sticker. About to ask if your program has a— yeah, I wish it did. It does not. It's kind of— it feels like— well, Procreate used to just be— I could just make this a little charm if I really wanted. It used to be kind of like a digital painting program initially, I think, and that's why it lacks a lot of features. But it's like— guys, Procreate's been out for years, and you know people of all styles and mediums use it. Like, work with us here. Center her look better. Popipo! Here she is! There's my girl! Pictopopy. Pictopopy. I love her. Okay. Go to my other girl. Lima! Lima! One of the OGs. Here's a fun fact, since we were talking about it. Lima originally is from Fallout 3. Lima was my character that I made for Fallout 3 years and years ago. I named every character that I made in that game after, like, military codes. That I'm like, these are names. But some of them were just called, like, Gamma and stuff. But I made Lima in Fallout 3. And then we got Oblivion afterwards. And I really, really liked Oblivion. But I just remade her. Because she was just kind of like default standard player character. But then I got super into Oblivion. And I made a whole thing. I was even gonna make a whole, like, comic. This is so cringe. I feel so embarrassed talking about it. I was gonna make a whole comic that, like, one of my original characters, like, basically came to, like, Tamriel to meet Lima and had a little adventure and stuff, but then I was like, well, I don't want to— if I'm gonna, like, make a comic, it should be, like, an original comic, and then I was gonna remake it and adjust it, and then comics are a lot of work, and so I never finished it or got far, but it is still very close to my heart. And Lima then just became one of my main characters. This Oblivion, as I said before, dude, Oblivion is so good. And again, like, I know it got a lot of flack for, like, how saturated it is, and it is a very saturated game. It is very, very bright. But I really like it. I would rather play a game that is very, like, brightly colored, but it's actually unique to look at, than compared to, like, Skyrim, which it does make sense for Skyrim that it's very gray and stuff, because it's, like, in the mountains, and it's very cloudy and snowy and so on and so forth. But, like, there are places in Skyrim and in mountain ranges that are not just gray. It would be nice if we had gotten a little more color. Because even places where, like, there are color in Skyrim, like, in the game, they don't really stand out as much because they're still very toned down. Oblivion was so colorful. And I think because Oblivion was so colorful, it really, like, helped emphasize the places that weren't colorful. Like, there was some contrast. Instead of everywhere's gray. Oh, okay. But I'm also just a sucker for, like, high fantasy stuff, so Oblivion was always gonna be a winner in my book. Ugh, I miss it. Okay, I think I need to turn this off now, because... I actually need to hide the beach ball, too, so that I can focus on spacing. That look? Yeah, looks okay. Well, actually... And the dungeons freaked me out as a kid because they were so dark and dreary. Yes! Oh my god. They still, like, there's something still so unsettling about, like, the dungeons and caves in Oblivion. Like, the music is really good, the atmosphere. It's just unsettling. It's like... I feel like I'm not scared, I don't know. I will say... I am definitely scared of, like, the zombies in Oblivion. They're so upsetting to me. Zombies are normally kind of indifferent as, like, horror creatures. The zombies in Oblivion freak me out in such a real way. They're so scary! And so when they, like, like, alien ruins and caves, I'm so scared of them. Specifically because I'm like, if there's a zombie in here, I'm gonna get so scared. Yes, the sounds they make are loud and freaky, and they're all like, like, they just look gross. They look like rotted. And they feel like really, like when you hit them, like they feel really like fleshy and heavy. Like they're really well designed enemies. But I don't like them, they're scary. They're too well designed. They scare me. They unsettle me. In such a real way. And so I'm always afraid to go into the areas that I know they're gonna be. I swear to God, zombies in that game, I'm not joking, make me play only like one of two styles. And that is either I hit so hard that everything dies instantly, or I'm so sneaky that I can walk around basically invisible. Because I'm like, I want to just, how do I handle zombies in the most efficient way? I either kill them instantly, or I sneak past them. And so regardless of whatever build I'm making, I'm doing one of those two things. And then everything else is just gonna die right alongside them, so it works out. That's the other thing I really liked about Oblivion was, like, all the little subclasses that you could make. And it was literally built into the game, and you could, like, make your own spells and stuff. You could mix and match, like, your skills. It was so good. And then in Skyrim, they just boil it down to warrior, thief, mage. And I'm like, I mean, okay. I get where it's definitely simplified and it's easier to manage, but I really like the versatility in Oblivion. It felt like there were a lot of options but it was never really overwhelming. Because A, they had all the pre-made ones, and B, if you wanted to just be like, I just want to hit things, I just want to be a simple basic warrior, the game's like, okay, here you go do it. Go hit things. But if you wanted to be more complex or nuanced, you could. Whereas Skyrim, it was like, nah, you're pretty much gonna play one of 3 game styles. I was like, oh, alright. I like Oblivion. Yeah, it's so good. I love making my own spells. I know my friends would make like really broken ones they've told me about, but I was like, I just like to be like, I'm a warrior, or I'm like a thief or something, so I'm gonna dabble into magic just enough that I can make myself like a more efficient feather spell to carry stuff. But I don't have to be a full mage to do this. Or I can like enchant weapons with different abilities and stuff. Oh. It was just cool. It felt more like you're an actual practitioner of magic. You know, like this is a thing that can be studied in the world. Instead of just, yeah, here's your generic pre-made spells. It's like you could make your own. Especially if you're a mage player, then you can make some really cool stuff. Like yeah, you're the archmage. Because you have this knowledge and mastery of magic, it felt like. My dad would cheese the game by making a custom class with skills he never used. Yep, so he had complete control over how... Yes! And I really like that too, to be honest, because it's very easy. I fell into that trap in one of my first files of the game, is I'm like, well, these are going to be my main skills, so I'll do these. But then I would do all the side stuff, and I would level up faster than the main story, so then when I would go back to the main story, I'd be an archer trying to fight like the giant like Daedroths or whatever, which are just all heavy armor. It would take 800 fucking arrows to kill. And I was like, this just isn't fun, because everything in the Oblivion Gates is all equivalent to like heavy armor enemies. And so unless like you have some crazy magical weapons or arrows or whatever, like it's gonna take you forever to get things done. But you could do that. You could just put your you could put like your lesser known skills on your main skill set and kind of like level up at your own pace. Like, that's cool. That's a cool structure to your game. You can't become Archmage while only knowing 3 spells total. Yeah! Yeah, you don't just have like, oh, here's basic ice spell number 1. Here's basic fire spell number 3. It was like, you could make and you could name your own spells. Like, it's just cool. I feel like that's a lot of things that fantasy games and media of all variety like to say, right? Like, and I think what comes to mind is like, I guess in terms of like D&D, right? Is like you have mastery of these, and to be a wizard you have to study for years and years. But you can't make your own spells. Like, I think that there is a way to do it, but it's really kind of like uncommon and niche. And you have to have like all these different components and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know, it feels like overly complicated and hidden in a way that the average player isn't going to do it. When you could feasibly be playing a campaign up to like level 18, but your character's still using spells that everyone else has made. That's what I really liked about like the Mighty Nein campaign from Critical Role, is that Caleb made his own spells. He made his own stuff. Like, yeah, if he's supposed to be this like special like savant and stuff, not even a savant, he was just very like well learned and creative and talented and so on and so forth. Like, he should have the capability to make his own spells. And I really like that Oblivion let you do that. If you didn't want to, you never had to. But if you did want to, you could just walk into the mage college, go over to the little table, and just make your own spell. And that's so cool to like give players that level of control and creative freedom. Very cool, very unique. And I'm not saying that Oblivion's the only game that does that. I'm sure that there are other games that do, but it's the one that I'm familiar with. It's a good game. Okay. I do feel like I want the speech ball to be, like, solid, though. Okay, so what I'm gonna do... I do also need to clean it up, so... Yeah, because these colors are kind of janked. That's okay. Also, the DLCs for Oblivion were just really good. They were really good. Like, what was it? The Shivering Isles with Sheagora? Those were really cool and fun. You went to a whole different area. With, like, unique characters and a plot and items. I really liked the 9 Divines too, where it's like you get to essentially join a faction. You can get little guys. That's cool. I guess I could probably just draw over this, because it's gonna be under this layer anyway in the long run. There's some other ones. I think even just like the little like unique estate DLCs that you could get, like you could get like a fort, you could get like a wizard tower, like those are cool. Oh my god, the Thieves Guild in Oblivion too. The Thieves Guild in Oblivion rewired my brain chemistry. Like, it was so good. I am a cheese ball, so I love... I say as I'm drawing Lima up. I love, like, thieves with a heart of gold. But also, it's, like, very adventure-y. And, like, yes, you are committing crimes. Like, they don't shy away from that. But they balance the in-between of, like, okay, between your petty thievery, like, hang on, there's an injustice. We gotta right this. And, like, it's so fun! It felt so good. Oh, the mechanic for ranking up to determine by monetary value. Yeah, you had to, like, meet a quota, so to speak. It was really good. And then all of the, like, different ranks had different titles and stuff. You actually have to do the thing in your own time. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's not just, like, go from quest to quest. You do actually have to go out in the world and participate in your guild, so to speak. So good. You can imagine my severe and immense disappointment when I swapped to Skyrim and it was just like, hey, we're just the bastard club for bastards. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess that's fine. I really liked the characters in Skyrim's Thieves Guild, though. The plot was kind of meh. Because it always just boiled down to, like, no, how do we best serve ourselves? And, like, don't get me wrong, that makes perfect sense for a criminal organization, right? But then at the very end, they tried to be like, no, actually, we're the good guys because we serve this... What, it was like the Night Mother or whatever, and we're her agents for good. And I'm like, I don't care by now. And especially because even if we supposedly do this thing, you are still just stealing these artifacts for your own personal benefit. It's just you're stealing it from a lesser evil. Or for a greater evil. I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that that is still good writing, right, for what it is. I think it's fine. But for my personal taste, especially after coming out of Oblivion's Thieves Guild, where you're literally helping poor people because the cops are exploiting them. I'm like, just two completely polar opposite flavors that was very jarring. That's all, I guess, is my point. I don't know how I want this. Hang on, let me... I don't think that makes sense, technically. I think... Yeah, it was fine. I like the Fighters Guild more in Skyrim. Fighters Guild in Oblivion was kind of like, it's alright. But Fighters Guild in Skyrim was really fun. I was also not impressed with— oh, the Dark— yeah, the Dark Brotherhood is really good in both games, but ironically you never get any agency in it, and it's really frustrating. In before Elder Scrolls 6, if there's a Dark Brotherhood or equivalent, everybody's gonna die by the end of it because for some reason Dark Brotherhood has to just— which, I guess here's my thing, right? Is like, yeah, there's a huge stretch— what, it's like 100 years between each game or something like that? Bork, bork, bork. I guess not completely 100 years, because I think Skyrim and Oblivion there was not as much time. But I'm like, if every time the Dark Brotherhood gets too big, it just tears itself apart, how has it still lasted as an overall agency? Like, if this keeps happening with its smaller sects, how does it as an overarching organization stay alive? Like, I don't understand. And also, please let me have agency. I understand it's a linear game, but like, I don't know. One of my qualms with Dragon Age 2 was the plotline of when, like, your mom is very blatantly being stalked by a serial killer, and for some reason, you can do nothing about it. And I'm like, but it's really obvious. Like, it's really obvious. Why can't I do something about this? I feel like if you're gonna do that kind of stuff where you take agency away from the player, I think that's okay, because that's how narrative stories work. Like, it's not a big deal. But you gotta be a little bit more clever about your plot. Like, you can't make it so obvious from step one what's going on. Because it's never executed in a way of like, this is a beautiful tragedy that we see what's happening, but you can't do anything to stop it. It's always just like, what? This person that's been blatantly killing everybody is actually the bad guy? What? Huh? Come on. Come on. Come on. I know I'm just a little guy, but come on. I think it hurts more in Oblivion though, because the Oblivion Dark Brotherhood characters were really good. They were really fun. And they genuinely, like, went out of their way to write them in a way that wasn't forceful, but it's like, you are one of them. Yeah, they were your friends, yeah! I feel like a lot of, like, writing and games and stuff, they kind of try to force the found family trope. And it doesn't really quite sell, but I think Oblivion Dark Brotherhood did a decent job of it. Because I feel like they say, like, well, we're a family in the sense of an organization. So you can either take that literally of, like, they are your found family, or you are a team. It never feels like, oh, we're your family and we're adopting you and everything's ooh, great. It just feels like, no, you're a team, if nothing else. And also there are enough characters that are, frankly, kind of hostile. So, like, if you don't feel attachment to these characters, there is space for you to feel that way. Because other characters are also like, leave me alone. Don't talk to me. You can be one of those characters. I feel like it was kind of very well done in that capacity. And then they took it away. Took it away from us. Blue, blue, blue. That's good. Oh, I'll be right back. I'm gonna keep drawing, but... Okay, I'm back. Oh man, there came in to tell me something. I had to break the news to her that Parmesan cheese and mozzarella cheese are different types of cheese, so they have different names. Unlike the way Oblivion NPCs interact with each other, made it clear there was a variety. Yeah, like, I feel like Oblivion gets it gets memed on a lot, and it should, because it's hilarious, all the, like, side dialogue where they just walk up to each other and just, how's it going? Have you heard of the High Elves? It's very funny, and it should be made a joke. But also, like even the, like the Dark Brotherhood, right? Because that's what we were talking about, is, like, if you go through their things, or even if you just, like, talk to certain NPCs, they'll, like, tell you things about each other. And about, like, oh, this person has this little secret, or this person does this, and it's like, oh yeah, like, they're their own realized creations. And it's just nice. Oh, no, hang on, I have to... Oh. 1 sec, I need to just... Okay, I do have the original sketch still. I just like to keep the original sketch, but I need to clean up layers, so... before I go crazy deleting stuff. I think I'm just gonna leave this hand. It's fine. Is it perfect? No, but it's fine. Yeah, yeah! It's good game. Okay. I'm gonna commit. I'm going to commit to the bit. I think I want this beach ball to be solid. Oh, pardon me. Oh, we just merged. Okay. By committing, I'm gonna have to erase line art. It's kind of scary. Yeah, it was good. And like Oblivion, I remember there was one part in the main story near the end where like you have to literally just fight 1v1 like the main bad guy. Not like the main bad, not like the final fight, but it's near the end of the game. And I was playing on like a warrior character. I think like full like two-handed axe and everything. And I went in and my gear broke. like 3/4 of the way through the fight, it just shattered. And I don't think you can repair your gear in combat, or I ran out of repair hammers. Because for some reason I couldn't repair it. And so I just had to beat him to death with my bare hands, and I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of amazing because, like, my character was, like, you know, a warrior, like, that was her thing, is she was just, like, she was the down and gritty, and so her, like, in my brain, like, she's fighting, and her axe breaks, and so she's like, well, I can't back down from this fight because I literally cannot leave this area, but also, this is the main bad guy. So she just starts going fisticuffs, and then you beat him, and she literally just beat him to death, and, like, you just get shunted back out of the portal, and I'm like, she's just sitting there covered in blood, and I'm like, I don't know, like, it's good. It's a very different flavor. It's completely in my head, like, it's all imagination, but it's a very different flavor from coming out of that fight as, like, a mage or something, or an archer, or a sword and shield kind of fighter. Like, it's cool. It was just cool. A very, like, this is the same main story quest that every player of this game is gonna play, but because of how I built her and her gear and stuff, like, it gave me that unique feeling to it. I don't know. It was just fun. Also, yeah, the unarmed moves too. Yes, exactly. And like, again, case in point, like, that's what I really enjoyed about Oblivion's little subclasses, is that they had all the pre-made ones, but they were cool. Like, it was such a wide variety of, like, mixed skills. And, like, it was fun. They all had, like, unique illustrations. You could do, like, battle mage, you could do monk, you could do, like, scout, or thief, or, like, assassin. And so it was, like, even within, like, your warrior decks and magic that, like, then they boiled down into Skyrim, within those you could have all these different flavors, and like that you could, just by adding like one or two different skills that you maybe wouldn't normally put with them, like, it Oblivion made it that you could literally be a heavy hitting, heavy armor fighter that uses magic. Like, you could do both. In Skyrim, if you really want to, you can, but you gotta kind of finagle it and constantly swap back and forth your star sign to get the XP bonus, and it's like, it's way more work than it really needs to be. It disincentivizes more unique builds that Oblivion, I think, really shined with. And of course, I cannot speak for the previous Elder Scrolls game because I did not play them, so my only frame of reference is Oblivion and Skyrim, but... Okay, I'm gonna be a coward. I'm gonna make a copy of this. Before I start erasing chunks of her. Okay. Can always import the sketch later. Okay. Alright, bye Lima's body. So good. So good. I also really just... I just liked looking at all the different artwork that they had in the game. Like, for all the star signs, and for the classes and stuff. They were really cool. They were really cool illustrations. And like the star sign screen in Skyrim is still very pretty, but it's not like these almost like watercolor like paintings. So cool. They're very lovely. They're very lovely. I saw a color I had to erase. Yes, here it is. I guess not erase, we just extend this out. So good. I miss it. I hope they bring some of that back in 6. I'm not gonna really get my hopes up, but I would be delighted if they kind of brought some of that customization back. And maybe they will. I mean, I don't know what ESO is like, because maybe they'll borrow some stuff from that. I mean, I'm sure that they're completely different teams, but they're in the same parent company, so you never know. Lima! She's so cute. I love her. Not to toot my own horn about my own character, but I do love her. My little Lima bean. I'll leave that one just... I'm gonna extend this. Ow. Excuse me. ESO is kind of its own beast in terms of the mechanics of being up. Oh yeah. Makes sense. This is... But I would like to keep this color. But these little plushies are cute. Oops. He's hypocrite. I just want customizability in games back. And I understand that it's a lot of work to write and code and disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. But I can still want these things even while understanding why we don't get them. You know? I'm allowed to want, I think. I'm allowed to seek something better. Blushy. He's my little blushy. Ah! Yeah, I know you made this into a really weird arc. Okay. Like, thin it out a little bit. Kind of made it into a weird shape instead. Oh my god! Hi Spencer! Welcome in! Why are you looking at me with them big ol' eyes? Got him. Got him. Hi! Happy Sunday! How are you doing? I think I'm gonna... Oh, I just noticed her eye is leaking. There's... Yes! Lima! A baby girl! I'm also looking at my computer screen. This seafoam for you guys is apparently really, really bright and saturated. It's not like that on my screen. Like, it's still a pretty bold teal, but it's not quite, like, blinding. Sorry about that. I don't know why it's doing that. It looks fine on my screen. Oh. Hey, we're talking about Oblivion and Skyrim. But how's your weekend been, Spencer? How's the weekend been treating you? Guess it be well. It's like build choices lead to emergent gameplay, which has some cool moments that can't be planned for, at least to extreme highs, extreme lows. Yeah! Elden Ring is like that for me, even if frustrating at times. Yeah! It's really like... It's nice. It's a way to give your players agency in a linear story. And I don't think you're ever, like, if you're writing a linear story, you're not obligated to give your player agency. Like, that's the point, right? Is you're in a pre-written story that goes from point A to point B, and it's been predetermined. That's fine. There are a lot of really amazing games and stories that are like that. But if you have the means to give your players a way to kind of make the story their own, even as they're going on, especially when, like, they're playing a character that is, like, not a pre-made character, it is, like, your creation as the writers, or it's their creation as, like, players. It's just nice if you can kind of give them that extra ability to truly make that character theirs. It's been okay, been busy? Okay. Well, that's okay. Busy's not bad. It seems like everybody did a bunch of cleaning yesterday, myself included. That's why making your own character in D&D is still fun, even when on a— Yeah, I feel like especially in games like tabletop games, railroading gets a really bad rap, and I feel like there's a difference between railroading and linear stories. Like, linear stories are super fun, right? Like, most games... Not that you can and should compare video games and tabletop games because they're different mediums and different beasts, but like most games are linear stories and people are fine with that. But then you get to tabletop games and everybody's like, well, I want to play a sandbox. It's like, well, first of all, that's a lot of work for the DM, so why don't we cool it a little bit? And B, like, it's fine to have a linear story. And I feel like the difference between linear and railroad, at least to me, I'm sure that there's plenty of debate in the tabletop space that I don't know. But for me, like, linear is you have a generally predetermined story, and it's but it allows for the players to influence things. Like, they might kill certain NPCs or bad guys, or maybe they befriend certain bad guys, or they unlock different secrets, and like they have some impact on the story, which I think is the ideal. Like, you're theoretically you're playing with your friends and your players so that they can contribute to the story. It's a collaborative effort. Versus railroading is, no matter how hard they try to impact things, you the DM, you take away their ability to impact things. They may impact things, but then you end up doing something that either, like, just completely undermines it, or you just flat out are like, no, that doesn't happen. And, like, I think whatever works for your table is, if everybody's having fun, and that end of story. If everybody's having fun and is comfortable, then play however you want. But to me, that's what I feel like there's difference between linear and railroad. And I feel like, going back to like Oblivion and Skyrim, I feel like those games are linear games, but they're not railroads. You can have a unique experience from another player based on your build and your play style, and some quests just flat out have different options for accomplishing the goal. But a railroad is, no, you play this character this type of way, and you go from point A to point B. And there's lots of games that do that that are perfectly fun, you know? There's nothing wrong with it. I feel like I say that a lot, where I say a thing and then I put like a qualifier at the end, but that's how I feel, and I'm bad at articulating myself, so I want to try to be clear. People think anything that isn't a sandbox is railroad. Yeah, never running a sandbox again. Yes, exactly. It's a lot of work. I think it could be a lot of fun, but it is a lot of work. And I feel like for a sandbox to work in a tabletop game, you need a lot of player input. You need player input and you need player initiative. If you put everything on the DM, it's not fair. It's not equal. And then thus it's usually not fun. Also prep for my D&D. Yeah, D&D! Yeah, well, yeah! Yeah, that's why the type of game I want to run is, I want it to be kind of a mix of linear and sandbox. It's not a full sandbox. It's gonna be like, at my arms watching stream. Hello! Hi, Blues Kitty. Hi, Blues Kitten. Hello, Blues Kitten. Very good. I want it to be like, here's your main base of operations and stuff, and here are the options of what you guys can go do. Tell me what you want to go do, and then I'll essentially prep a one-shot, and it'll be a self-contained little adventure. And then once you guys are done with that adventure, you go back to base, and then you go from there. Because I feel like I want to give people options of how to do stuff and like what they want to interact with in the world. But I need, yes, very, yeah, when I read about West Marches, I was like, this is the kind of game I want to run. Because it gives a lot of player agency, but I'm a type of DM that, like, I'm a DM that I need prep. I always get told, like, don't over prep, don't over prep. My brain, if I don't prep for things, I'm going to be really anxious and miserable and not fun, and I'm not going to be able to react to improvised moments. If I prep enough that I have like a baseline, even if it's not something I've written that comes up, if I have the basic foundation, I can go from there. And I feel like that style of gameplay would work for me, while also giving my players the freedom to kind of do what they want, you know? It would allow me, it's not going to be like, well, we're going to be right, like, it's going to be structured, and I will tell my players this, like, session 0, like, this is how this game's gonna work. Is, for the most part, here's your hub city, pick what you want to do, tell me, and then next time we play, that's what I will prep. And so theoretically the rhythm will be kind of like that, of like, you guys do an adventure, and then at the end of the day when you come back, maybe there's some downtime and so on. Let me know what you want to do, I'll prep the next thing. Some things may already be pre-prepped so we can jump into them, but for the most part I'm gonna need my players to give me feedback. And if they don't give me feedback, then I'm like, then we can't play, because I don't know what you guys want to do. And maybe some things will come up naturally, of like, Of like, okay, we're in the thick of things and things are just leading one into the next. That's fine. It's gonna be probably just starting out. It's gonna be a little bit more structured, and then we'll go from there. Because I think that that will benefit people as they're getting to know their characters and the setting and the game, and also me as the DM. And then we can always adapt and change over time. Because it's a living collaborative effort with me and my friends. That's the beauty of it. Real talk, building the Rising Stones is one of my favorite. Yes! Yes! I did not like a lot of those Scions until like Shadowbringers, like the characters, but I loved the concept. And I loved changing things over. And like going to the new base and stuff. It's good! It was good world building. It was a good way to like shift you into like a new main base too. Also allows like, we have too many interested players or someone can't make it. Yes. Yeah. Pardon me, that was the thing that I really liked about the West Marches style, is that, and I think that's why I kind of want to do it, is like, I probably want to start with a party of 4 or 5 people max. Because I think any more than that, it gets very hard to manage, it gets very hard for everybody to get a word in edgewise. 4 or 5 seems like a good sweet spot. And then if people want to jump in and out, since they're contained adventures, like, it's like if somebody just flat out isn't interested in adventure, but everybody else is, it's gonna be like, well, don't feel obligated that you have to come along because, oh, don't split the party. It's like, you don't have to come along. Heck, maybe, like, if your character doesn't want to go on this little side quest, they stay back at the town. And maybe you'll play, if you still want to play D&D with us, like, okay, you can play, like, one of the bad guys or something. Or, like, a temporary NPC or something. I think that could be fun. Maybe people won't want to do that. That's fine, too. Just options, you know? Okay. I wonder if I could, like, steal this. Eh. Yeah, I know. Oh no, not Alpha Lock, I meant Flipping Mouse. I mean, this will still line up pretty decently. And who knows, maybe when we start playing, all these plans will just go out the window. And that's okay. I just like to prepare and think. I've got a few starting adventures kind of planned out. Because I want them to just be like low-level little side quests that you guys can pick. Gonna head out. Hope your Sunday's restful, productive. Well, thanks for hanging out, Blue. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you and to chit-chat. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy. Okay. Oh, right, I don't have a palette for Lima. Ah, hi! Need to just... I forgot how red Lima's hair is. I think it's not, actually. I think I just kind of winged her color. Oh, actually, that's not true. I probably just color picked from this and then... Oh no, maybe I did, yeah. Yeah, definitely more reds in this one. Look at that glow up. Okay, I do kind of want to make this a little darker. But yeah. All that to say, who knows what the future will hold. It's really dark. I wonder if I should just use like this color. It's still kind of dark. That's better. Now I just really want to play Oblivion, though. All that talk about it. I just want to go back and play Oblivion again. I don't even remember what my current file... I know my current file was, like, going through and did all of, like, the Alien Ruins, like, that little side quest, because my friend told me about it. And it was one that I had never, like, done to completion. Because I couldn't find all the Alien Ruins. This was pre-functional internet. But now I can just look up where everything is. It's really fun. I don't know where I was in, like, the main story. And I feel like I had a bunch of side quests and they were all like, I don't want to do these. I don't even remember what I was playing. Was I playing a mage or was I playing a warrior? Maybe I was an archer? Maybe I was a sneak thief, because I usually, when I do files, I'm just like, I want to do the Thieves Guild. Because I have one flavor. And if I'm gonna replay this game for the, like, 10th time, I gravitate to what I know I'll like. Nothing wrong with sticking to what you love. Yeah! Honestly, I should replay Oblivion so that I can steal side quests from it. Use them in D&D and see if people notice. I think that could be funny. That's how you do it. A G in my head did that one. Listen. Sometimes. I may have already planned an adventure or two that are just reskinned, re-established things, and I'm purposefully like... I'm kind of like, I wonder if people will notice. I want to see how long it takes for me to get the... Is this from fucking XYZ? And I'll be like... Yeah. One of the Little Adventures from... Not familiar how there's only like 9 plots, that whole thing. It's fun. Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I'm so excited. Man versus nature, man versus man. Man versus God, man versus himself. Oh yeah! I remember that. You know? Yeah. Make like a little adventure for each one of those. That's actually really smart. That could be really fun. I stole chocobos! Why did you steal them? We're gonna pretend like in the past 10 years since I last... It hasn't been 10 years, I think it's been like 5. In the past 5 years between this picture and this picture that I've learned to shade. I haven't, but we're gonna pretend. We're gonna pretend, and you're gonna pretend with me. Chocobos are delightful, that's true. They are perfect little creatures. Suki looks very much to me like you're shading. Well, I am shading, but am I shading correctly? That's the trick. That's how they get you. AI artists are intimidated by my complete lack of shading proficiency and swag. Not knowing what I'm doing hasn't stopped me, fuckers. What's your excuse? I know the general light source is top right. See, this is the problem. I'm very bad at planning my light sources. And then I get to the shading stage and I'm like, oh shit, what do I do now? And I just kind of wing it. I'm just like, oh, vague diffused lighting. Done. I think that's why my more high contrast pictures tend to look quote unquote better, because I'm like, well, this is high contrast, so I have to plot out where the shading's gonna be. And it's going to have a very definitive light source. Like, I feel like if I did like a this lighting where like basically she is entirely in shadow, and then do like some highlights on the face and like here-ish. I'm probably gonna do this. I'm gonna be like, damn, that looks really good, I should just do that. Idiot, I'm gonna play myself. That's what's about to happen. You're gonna watch it happen in real time. Because that's always what happens. I should actually almost just like do this and then erase away. Okay, I am going to prove my point, I need to remove. Right, like that, and then like erasing here, like here-ish, and maybe like a little bit here, like here, and then here, and then... So you're almost like just doing highlights, in a way. You know, like that sort of a thing. Dramatic lighting is super intimidating, so going forward is a worthy experiment. Yeah. This is not going to be the same shade. You know, so it's almost like the light is like behind her to give more contrast. Excuse me. Damn it, that probably would look really good. Fuck. Damn it. Look at cute so far, thanks! But then also I feel like the rest of the picture should be darker, like the sky and stuff. What if I do like a different shade? A blue undertone? The layer in your back pocket. Yeah. That's probably what I'll do, to be honest. To me, I had done just like diffuse light because I'm like, well, she's out in the sunlight. Like, she's not in a setting in which there would be shading unless like the sun was directly behind her, you know? So I just went with like diffused shading. Fuck, it looks good though. Not quite so strong. Yeah. I'll keep it for now. Oh yeah, there was gonna be like stark lighting though, is the thing. Contemplative. People who can make a piece look bright as hell by just like having a white background or yeah. I think that was part of why I put this like additive layer on the line art, to give that kind of nice like glow on her edges. I'll also highlight that it's like, it's bright and sunny out. And then these would be, yeah, maybe I should just do that because I've kind of already established this with the effects. Yeah. Maybe there. Yeah! Yeah, these are all going to be like the little bells and whistles layers. So I feel like I shouldn't do like a heavy shading. I need to get a haircut. I'm just messing with all my dead ends. When I get pensive. But yeah, okay, yeah, maybe actually that's true, yeah. This is cute though. Maybe I'll just keep it just for me. Just for me. Okay, put this out of here. I do need this color though. Looks like she's been reverse sunburned. Maybe the trick will just be minimal shading in general. If I keep it minimal, then it'll be okay. Well, this is gonna be tricky. This is gonna have to go over both. Maybe it's okay. I can go over there and always lighten it if I need to. I'm gonna have to do minimal shading. Also, me immediately shade something that's gonna have a lot of like texture and depth. Oh well. This is definitely my struggle. Yeah. Honest to God, I need to just like take or watch a class on shading. Part of me is like, remember to have so many values, remember to try to be accurate. Another part of me is this is stylized for clarity and design. You can get away with so much less in just like head and hands emoji touchy. Yeah. It's hard, right? Like, I think that's the struggle of art in general, but definitely of cartoonier styles is like, we want to be stylized and focus more on conveying emotion. But at least for me, there's definitely always a struggle of like, but I want it to look quotation mark, nice. And just trying to find that balance. No, actually, I feel like this is wrong. This should be inverted. What are we listening to? Listen to Yoshi. Year of the Yoshi. Game Chops. We already listened to that whole album. Oh my god, yeah, I guess I've been streaming for 2 hours. Okay, fair enough. I feel like I don't want these to be this similar. I'll probably alpha off. Because this would be the part that comes up, and this would be the dip down on this side. The other side is different because it's facing the light differently. Right. There was a point in time when I got real good at drawing like ruffles. Where did that time go? We just don't know. It's gone. It left my brain. Like sauce through a tube of macaroni. It's gone. I don't like that. It just looks bad. And I'm allowed to say that, because it does. It does objectively look bad. I can do better. Honestly, that helps a lot, actually. Giving it some curve. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Insta-fix. Easy peasy lemon cheesy, baby. Beached ball. Beached ball. Beached ball. Beached ball. Beached ball. Hop, 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 hop. Boop. You know what's another part of Oblivion that always and to this day still scares me? Is that town, if you go to like Chorrol, however you want to pronounce it, and the shopkeeper will eventually approach you and be like, help, my daughter's gone missing. She went to make this delivery to this town. She hasn't come back. And then you go south of Chorrol and she's been like abducted and they're gonna like sacrifice her or something. That town scares the crap out of me. It's just this like run-down ghost town in the middle of the woods, and the people will like sneak up on you, and it scares me. It's so unsettling in such a good way, like. But to this day, because you can just because you're there and you know something's gone wrong, and like you find like her horse and stuff is abandoned. Like, her precious horse that, like, she would never leave behind. So, like, you know, from the get-go, you know something bad happened to her, and then you just keep finding more and more clues. And I think, like, if you do find people to talk to, they, like, don't want to talk to you, and they, like, don't tell you things, they just tell you to leave or whatever. It's just, it's good. It's really freaky. It's good. Like, as bright and colorful and overly saturated as Oblivion is, I think Oblivion weirdly does horror very well in some spots because it utilizes suspense and atmosphere. I feel like a lot of games are like, they use horror in the sense of like gore and just pitch black dark tones where you can't see anything, and those things are scary. Like, I think that there are a lot of different ways to do horror, but I'm more drawn to like atmosphere and tension and things like that. That's the stuff that's, if it unsettles me, that's what's gonna scare me more than just grossing me out. For me. Yeah. It's good. Cause we were talking earlier about like the caves and alien ruins in Oblivion are scary because of like the zombies are in there. And the zombies are so upsetting. They're so scary. Like, they're not hard enemies. They're just gross. They look and sound like rotting, moaning flesh, and they're spooky. It's good design, but I hate them. And they're always in the crypts and caves, and so I never know if they're gonna jump out and scare me. And then because they're so heavy, you hit them and they don't get knocked back. It's like, get away from me! They're good! It's good! You know what, did I make a scaredy emote? I didn't. I didn't make a scaredy emote? Really? That doesn't sound right. Is this not my proper... It has pain.jpg. Hang on, I gotta open up BetaTube for a second. 9, 8, 7. Did I not make my other ones? That can't be right, hang on. I guess I didn't. Okay, well, oh well. Yeah, well. I thought I had made like a scared emote for my PNG, my clown tuber, but if I did, I don't have it anymore. Probably don't want this to be so like green. Hang on. Yeah, there we go, so I can actually focus on the color that it is. I'm gonna do this because I will probably do my, like, airbrush little under shading that I like to do, so I might as well just keep these a separate layer. Make my life easier later on, having to repeatedly alpha lock over and over. Should be greener, yeah, to kind of match with, yeah. Not as hard on the eyes. Being too hard on the eyes. Actually, yeah. Good stuff. What do I need to finalize before I finalize my game activity? Which I gotta tell you, I recently got the visual novel bug again, and I was like, no, don't do this, Isabel. You have too many other things you're working on. Can't go back. My brain was like, but what if we did? But what if we did? You have knowledge now. Bro, I found a thread that would help me implement puzzles into Ren'Py, and let me tell you, it is going to be game over when I figure out how to do that, because that's the kind of visual novel I would make. One with very simple little puzzles integrated. That's if okay, right? Like, Tumblr post, if you had unlimited money and you wanted to, you could do anything you wanted with it, what would you do? And it can't be altruistic, like paying bills or donating to charity. Like, what's a selfish, indulgent thing you would do? I would give myself the funds that would allow myself the time to take this little lass here, Lima, and make her a game. And it would be a visual novel game with, like, light puzzles. And one of those kind of like mixed type of games, like a Professor Layton type of game. I think that could be so fun, and it would fit her and her like storyline and her personality. And it'd be so cute. It'd be so good, and I want to do it so bad one day. I think it could be really fun. I don't think I'll ever actually be able to do it, but I think it could be fun. Maybe one day. Whoops. Yeah. Cute. I'd have to look at all my Ren'Py notes, though. I used to know enough basic Python to make Ren'Py work, but it's been so long since I've worked in it. Oh, I forgot her little hair thing up here. I'd have to, like, relearn it. But I wouldn't mind, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I feel like that brown is maybe just a little too dark. Hang on. Put that one. I saw a brush that someone had made I don't remember for what program. I don't think it was for program. But it was like a blender brush. So you have like your flat color and then like your shade. And then you select the brush and it blends it for you. And I was like, do you mean like that? Do you mean like an airbrush? Like, guys? Like, guys? I was like, guys? I mean, like, it's cool that the person, like, made the brush, right? Like, and then was making it available for people, but I was like, you can just blend it on your own. And if you want to, like, really be lazy, you can... Oh, not gradient map. I was like, you can, like, blur it. And, like, motion perspective blur. I'm like, the tools are already there. Guys? It's very strange. Most brushes that I see are almost like pre-made patterns and stuff. That one I was very confused. I don't really understand the advantage of using this versus just your blending brush. I guess it was supposed to be smoother? I don't know. I dunno. I was clearly not the target audience, so I dunno. So it's texture thing, I feel. Yeah, but I guess, like, I guess to me, I'm like, because if you use like your blending brush, like, you don't. I use like a airbrush, but like you can use any other brush you want. Like if I wanted to blend with this, like I could. It's not gonna look good, but I can. I want to use this brush. Like, gives it a nice texture. I don't know. I was very confused. But I didn't want to ask because I didn't want to get yelled at. For being a gatekeeper or something, I don't know. I was just confused. Ow. You hear that crack? That was my wrist. That was my old lady body falling apart live on twitch.tv.com. I'm gonna just... Good splotchy, Dr. Splotchy. That's a show that I want to rewatch, but I'm scared to. I want to rewatch Scrubs. Because I used to rewatch it all the time because we had the DVDs. It was like a comfort show and I just wanted something like low stakes and chill and kind of funny. But now I'm like, I haven't watched the show in 10 years. What if it aged really poorly? I'm so scared. But that's where I get the quote, good splotchy, Dr. Splotchy. A name I haven't heard in 1,000 years. I know. It was so good. I'm like, surely for the most part it held up. For the most part. Because a lot of its humor was just really silly and dumb. but not typically very, like, punch-downy. I mean, there were definitely, like, you know, like, fat jokes and stuff, particularly aimed towards women, but that's basically all of Western society. So I can't really fault it for doing something that everybody still does to this day. I guess. And I think it at least usually came from someone who's kind of being an asshole, so I was like, well, at least they know they're being a dick. But I also remember, I also think a lot about, I think a lot about when Carlo was having her baby, and Elliot was, like, trying to coach her through it. And she's like, you're just gonna squeeze like a tube of toothpaste. And I just think about that all the time. It's so stupid. Squeeze the baby like a tube of toothpaste. I'm tearing up just thinking about it because it's so dumb. And then Carla, like, took a swing at her and she just ducks under it. God damn. Show was so silly. Oh my goodness. What a silly little show. Ugh. Good grief. Oh, that's probably good. This is probably gonna be too dark. Actually, it's not bad. Oh no! Don't look at that. You didn't see it. You didn't see anything. You didn't see anything. But it stuck with me. Slagathor? Yes! Yeah. Oh my god. Oh god. What are some other really good bits from that shit? But I had a friend in college who we would quote the, why do you hate me when I show you nothing but love all the time at each other whenever we would riz each other or razz each other. We would just say that. Why do you hate me when I show you nothing but love? I just remember the ending. Oh god. I admittedly, I did not watch that show in its entirety. I mean, I watched up to, I think, season 6 or 7, but there was a shift in one season where they, like, shifted the focus to, like, the new interns, and the main cast kind of took a back, and I was like, I'm not about this. Sorry, I'm about the main cast. I kind of watched it, yeah. Last season is all, yeah, because they had started, I feel like it was season 7, because I feel like season 6 was, like, the last one to me. It was kind of like they wanted all, like, the main cast to, like, to retire or move on or, you know, do, like, the Friends thing where, like, they all kind of ended up living their own lives, and that's fine. But they didn't want to let go of the IP, and so they tried to bring in new interns, but the new interns were kind of not great. And so it was just kind of like, me. I don't know if I guess I technically never finished that show. But to me, I finished it. It's already, yeah, it's already over. Because it never transitions well. I think, ironically, I cannot believe I'm saying this, I think, ironically, Grey's Anatomy did it pretty decently, because they, like, established, I think what helped is that shows like Grey's Anatomy, like, they established new characters, like, new interns and stuff, as their own characters. The new interns and stuff, when they were introduced in Scrubs, were kind of introduced as jokes. And, like, they had bits and stuff. So then making them full-fledged characters felt, like, really kind of forced and strange. Last season of The Office with the 2 extra... I never watched The Office. I've only ever seen, like, a bit episodes here and there. But yeah, it's always very jarring. You can tell. I think I'll do this. I mean, even kind of like JD knocking up the one lady and having a kid felt very forced. It felt like they wanted him to, like, get that parental plotline, but they didn't want to commit to him and Elliot as a couple yet. It's very strange. And then they just, I think, committed to him and Elliot being a couple at the very end of the show anyway, so it was like, I feel like you could have just... I don't know. Okay, here we go. Lagathor? Why does this, like, not look as dark? Just... I don't know, I just, like, didn't stand out. Gotta tease the fans, yeah. I do appreciate that at least Elliot and JD, they had the annoying back and forth all show, but they actually, like, got along as friends. They didn't do the Ross and Rachel and Ted and Robin thing where there were points of the show where they were genuinely just really horrible to and for each other. But then it was like, no, but they're in true love. And I'm like, I don't think they are, actually. Like, Elliot and, like, JD kind of had, like, their disagreements, but for the most part, they always, like, kind of came back around. It was nice. They felt believable as friends and coworkers who liked each other, but didn't quite know how to commit to that. I'm gonna leave, I'm not gonna use this layer, but I'm gonna leave this in because I like the little reflective light there, and I don't want to forget it. Well, this is a reference layer. So if I wanted to... Let's love Ilea! Oh yeah, baby. Now we cooking. I don't know. This has been my Scrubs discussion. Thanks for joining me. Scrubs chat. Hashtag Scrubs chat. I'm gonna do something. Change the hue of this a little bit. And then that way I can actually grab the color. Just erase it. Okay. What did I just do? Okay. As normal. Oh yeah, baby. Ooh, you know what we watched the other day on Netflix? Is that movie, The Imaginary, I think it's called. It's based off of a kid's book. It's pretty good. Kind of had some fun, fucked up moments, but it was really good. Not like fucked up as in like problematic or bad. It was just like bridge to Terabithia. Like, oh my god, why did this movie get so real so fast? It was really good. And the animation was absolutely gorgeous. I highly recommend it. I realized when I said fucked up, I was like, wait, hang on, that could be misinterpreted. It was very good. It was very sweet. Very darling. I recommend. I don't know how it compares to like the original book, because I've never read the book. I didn't even know it was a book. It also feels like, the art style feels like they had people like that were like storyboards or something from Studio Ghibli, but it's not a Studio Ghibli film. It is still very like distinct. The coloring is almost like a nice like watercolor texture you can kind of see. It was cute. It's just a very pretty movie, and it was good. It was lovely. I enjoyed my time with it. Oh, well, okay, yeah, that's fair. This is just open. Try to actually erase that. It was good. I also rewatched Shrek like a couple weeks ago, and you know what? That movie's still really fucking good. It's still fun and good and silly and charming. Apparently they're making a new one? I don't know. I've only ever seen like the first two. I don't know if I've ever seen the third one. And I don't think I ever will, frankly. But the first two were good. And the first one still holds up. It's still very silly. I know I use the word silly a lot, but I just like a good silly movie. I like good lighthearted fun that I don't have to worry about it hurting me emotionally. Is that so much to ask? Shrek the Third annoyed me. Shrek 4 was better than 3, but I don't remember a lot of it. Yeah. Was 3 when they had kids? And 4, frankly, my brain, like, knew that they made a 4th movie, but I was like, they made a 4th movie? What is that even about? Yeah, 3 was when they had kids, yeah. Four was like, oh, It's a Wonderful Life. Not, oh my god. What? I have to learn the power of love and friendship? I'm probably going to merge all these highlight layers, by the way. I'm just going to separate them out for now, in case I need to do adjustments like I did with this tone that I have now initially. I want to make sure. Shrek like enters a world where he was never born and like, oh no, everything sucks now. What? That's amazing. That's very silly. I mean, I guess, yeah, if he had never been born, if nothing else, then the plot of Shrek 1 never would have happened. I guess I gotta give him that. That's kind of funny. An ogre Braveheart thing? What? You're just making me so deathly curious now. I want to watch this movie. I don't even care about watching 3. I just want to skip ahead to whatever this is. Because it sounds so wild. I'm so curious. Yeah, Shrek 4. Yeah. I think I'm okay with that tone. My elbow. That is just stretch first. Pardon me. What are we listening to? Still Ophelia. I turn it up just a little bit. This album's kind of softer. Crazy ass movie. I'm so curious now. I've never seen it, but now I'm like, maybe I should see it. Because it sounds absolutely wild and silly. Yeah, I know. Overlapping. Okay. This'll have to stay on its own layer then. That's fine, I suppose. The grand scheme of things. Yeah. We'll be okay. We can make Procreate work for its money. So we better treat it right. I already did that one. Okay. I want soup. I got pasta fagioli soup down there and it's calling me. I think we're gonna have eggplant today. Which I also love, but I want my pasta. I want my pasta. Okay. Come here. Go here. There's something I needed to do. Right. Yes, I needed to finish coloring. I needed to finish shading and coloring and, you know, doing that. Perhaps this sounds strange, but Lima's like kind of flat-chested, so I'm like, would there be contour line? Maybe not. Maybe, you know what I'm gonna do? I think I do want to put like an airbrushing layer underneath the shading, right? So it would be like this. Maybe I'll imply that here. Just a little bit softer, as she is kind of flat-chested. Yeah. I like that better. I guess I might as well do this while I have this color. Just a nice little blend. Like a nice little spice blend, you know? Salt and pepper. Oh, I forgot to adjust. There we go. Yeah, there we go. I forgot that I had to adjust my little Vita tube input when I had my heavy duty fan on. But I don't anymore. Now I can yap to my heart's content. Okay. Okay. I like that. Oh, I do want to do the little beach ball reflection. Let me do that. Yeah, let me take this. Ah, maybe not that big. Yeah. Maybe I'll do it like really hard and then I'll just lighten the layer, I think. Yeah. And then that's cute. I like that. I enjoy that result. What else have I watched lately? I don't really watch stuff frequently. I don't know. What have you guys watched lately? For those of you that are consumers of media, what's something you've watched? I do. Separate. Watching The Expanse. Ooh. How have you been liking it? Freyren and Dungeon Meshi. Ooh, I mean, I like Dungeon Meshi. I still need to watch / read Freyren. Actually, I need to read Witch Hat Atelier now that it's getting an adaptation. It's one I've been meaning to watch for a while. Now I'm like, no, I really gotta read it. Those are animes I do want to watch eventually. It's incredibly stressful, but in a good way. That's good. A nice kind of suspense thriller type. That's very cool. I'll have to check it out. Dungeon Meshi! Yeah, Dungeon Meshi's really good. I've been enjoying the adaptation too. I'm so excited for season 2. I want my boy Thistle. My baby boy. He's never done anything wrong in his life, ever. I know this. And their space battles, they are so scary. Ooh, now I kind of want to... Ooh. Prime. Allies sources from Mars have become an independent military power. Ooh, that sounds really good. I'll have to check it out. I should tell Wyatt about it. I wonder if he would like it, because he likes sci-fi stuff too. Wyatt, my beloved. I just love Fallon. Yeah! Fallon's so good. she's so darling. I love how nobody, except for Laios, honestly not even Laios really understands her. Bleh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I actually kind of hate it. TBH. Okay, selection's empty. Okay, good. I wanted to do a little lighting in there, but it looked really bad. So we'll just forego it. No problem. I should isolate this to these because would be overlap. Oh shit, tomorrow's Monday. Oh. Don't know if I want to go back to Paper Mario, if I want to do something else. I wouldn't mind going back to Paper Mario. Just don't know if people care. I know Ashley wants me to play Okami. Okami. Because I've never played it before. Don't remind me, said I know. I feel like I need the weekends to be 3-day weekends. Because one day is usually like cleaning or busy work, and then another day's actual rest. Paper Mario, yeah! Yeah, we stopped kind of like halfway through chapter 3, so I feel bad about where I left it. But, I mean, I wanted to play Dawn Trail, so it is what it is. I'm not like a professional gaming channel, it's fine. Fallen kind of just intrinsically understands dungeons and their wants and needs, while everyone else just doesn't see it that way. Yeah! Fallen's just a good character. She's a good bean. It is fine, don't worry about it. I'm gonna worry anyway. Yeah, I think it's fine. I don't think anybody particularly cares. I think I could play a different game every day of the week and I don't think anybody would really care. Portrait, you okay? Yeah, it's fine. Watch me stress out. No! No! No stressy. Stressy. Did I auto lock this? Yes, okay. I guess my thing is I'm like, what else would I play if not Paper Mario? I did see that there was like a little visual novel game jam. Just really like short ones. This could be cute to check out. I do want her eyebrows to be a little bit darker, so they do. They're all like really short, like I don't remember how long they had to make them. I don't know if it was like 24 hours or like a week or something, but it was kind of one of those time limits, so they're really short. That could be cute to check some of those out. Maybe do that instead. I'm always worried about trying new things on stream though, because I'm like, so far the stuff that I've played is either stuff that I've played before, so I know it's okay, or it's like, you know, like Princess Peach was new, but I'm like, I don't have to worry about Nintendo putting problematic content in their game about Princess Peach. I think that'll be okay to play. Not that I think that, like, any of the visual novels will be, you know, crazy bonkers, but I don't know, just in case, you know? I want to give you guys a good experience if we're all hanging out. If I run into something on my own that I'm like, I don't like that, that was upsetting, then it's like, well, it's just me. But I don't want to upset you guys, you know? I want this to be a chill, comfy place where we can hang out. Maybe I'll, like, peek at some of them ahead of time. I won't, like, completely go through them, but I'll just make sure. Yeah. Maybe we'll just do a chill game tomorrow of some kind. Ooh, actually, I think I have therapy tomorrow, so maybe, yeah, I should do something chill and cozy in the event that I do stream afterward. Ah. Yeah. Look at that. Done and decided. Easy. If I stream tomorrow, it'll be cozy. One of these days I'll stream Final Fantasy. But frankly, I don't know if my computer could handle streaming and playing Final Fantasy at the same time. And also, I'm doing spoiler stuff right now. Actually, I'm not doing spoiler stuff, but I'm in spoiler areas. Maybe like next month. I think the spoiler embargo will be up. Oh my god, what am I doing? I'm doing the lines, and I need to finish doing, I have to do this. Jesus. Got distracted. Isn't that nice? This little shading gradient. It's soft and cute. You know, if I relearn how to play Paladin, I guess I could play a Mr. Final Fantasy, actually. I'm pretty sure he's behind in MSQ. I feel like he's only like in Shadowbringers. But he is a Paladin, so I'd have to relearn. Mr. Final Fantasy! Yeah. I miss him. I miss buying Scarlet on Mr. Final Fantasy. We wanted to like hang out, but she was doing stuff at one of like the RP places. Pardon me, and I'd purchase her company on Mr. Final Fantasy, and her coworkers would be like, "There's a guy here named Mr. Final Fantasy. Do you know him?" He talks like, "Yea, verily." God, I miss Mr. Final Fantasy. He was so fun, he was so stupid. Just a delight to play. I think he even had like, I think I even had like dungeon macros for him. So when we loaded in, I would say something silly. Like, alright, comrades. We will face this trial together, or some nonsense. Like, just something silly like that. One time my friend Justin was like, lives rent free in my head. It's like, Mr. Final Fantasy? More like Mr. Final Fantasy. And I just... about that all the time. So silly. Justin's so good. I miss him. I miss him and Audrey. Some of my friends who are just really cool, nice, chill people. Lovely folks. Nice and softened. Oh my god, it's almost 2 o'clock. Okay. We'll stream for like maybe another 15 minutes. We'll call it there. Pretty good sesh today. What am I doing? It's been nice to work on her again. It's been a while since I've drawn something kind of just nice. It's been a while since I've drawn something in general. Usually even like if I don't stream stuff, I'm always drawing something. Not really this past like week. Damn, this looks pretty good. Damn, it still looks pretty good. Now, isn't that unfortunate? I feel about that. I don't know. Maybe it's too dark. Actually. I think I also want to... Yeah. A little, like, fade out on... Not like that. Maybe I just want to lighten it. Right, so there's like a lot of red and blush on her face, and kind of making it darker since it's a multiply layer. Yeah, I like that better. Here too. Lighten a little bit. Lighten up, would ya? That's a terrible noise outside. I guess I probably could just lighten up this whole layer, but whatever. He's okay. I kind of like the gradient effect that it now has. TBH. A nice little texture to it. Ah, the beach ball too. God, there's so many layers. And people ask me, how many layers do you use? Depends. Simple doodles, like 3. Big pictures like this, a bajillion. As you can see. I have 2 speeds. When I say it depends, I'm not being purposefully obtuse. It really does just depend on what I'm doing. That bad apple? Yeah, I think it is bad apple actually. Let's see. Yeah, it's Lo-Fi Leah's remix of Bad Apple. Yeah. Me with one layer all the way. It's like 6 max. Yeah. Usually for doodles and stuff, like, I might do a lot of layers initially, and then I'll, like, condense them down. I just like to keep them separate in case I want to, like, adjust things. Because for me, like, if things are separated out, that's less stressful for me. And then I can combine them once I'm content. But some stuff, like big stuff like this, I'll probably leave a lot of these separated just because I can. Frankly, so I will. And that's that. It's just like that. Oh, this needs to be like a brown. Yeah. Shoot for 6 or 7, but I can go into— oh yeah. And again, for really big pieces like this, like I put up no front about it. Like, I'm gonna be using a lot. And I know it. And I'm open about it. I'm a digital artist. I have the benefit of using layers. I'm gonna use them. I really should do more practice of like one layer and just feel of it, but that's not what we're doing today, so. Maybe one day. How's that for a charity reward milestone? I'll do the anti-art style thing, where it's like I use like a lot of rounded shapes, so I have to use really hard shapes. Really sketchy line art. Really desaturated colors. One layer. That could be funny. A fun little challenge. See what we come up with. That could be fun, actually. You guys can watch me struggle as I have to consciously not do certain things. I feel like the lines is gonna genuinely be the hardest part for me. Lines and layers, because even when I'm like, I'm gonna be chill and relaxed about whatever piece I'm drawing right now, and then I will inevitably, you'll see me like picking at the lines and cleaning them up because it's just a compulsion. Can't help it. Just like clean line art, it's so satisfying. Into those early 2000s art. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god, actually, but I have to do like realistic proportions or something? Ooh, how would that go? I don't want to do that. Oh. I would throw it to you guys. I'd be like, how would you want me to draw like facial features? I can't do like realism. That's not even a stylistic choice. I just can't do that. So I feel like the challenge is about stylistic choices. I'm gonna break this out just for... Gotta put nostrils in there. Okay, I could do things like that. I could do like little... like little details that kind of change my style, but... Because I feel like the idea of the challenge isn't to just like completely change your style, it's to do like opposing choices that you do. Maybe that's not true, but that's how I always interpreted it whenever I saw people do it. Because I never saw any like more cartoony artists that I follow suddenly do like, here's a hyper-realistic painting. Like, they never did that, so... I feel like if they didn't have to, then I shouldn't have to. That's the secret, is you just layer it all in bit by bit. Yeah. Yeah, angle time. Yeah, and you know what? I would be okay with that. I actually really want to practice more angular style with like really, really... I feel like my line art width is kind of medium. It's not like super, super like 2-point thin, but it's not really chunky like 20-point either. So I guess I would... That would be another thing, right? I feel like that would be the thing, right? Is like, if this was for like a goalpost, like reward or something, is to do this as as an art challenge. Is I feel like we would like have this discussion on stream and qualify like what is gonna happen with what. And be like, would you guys want me to do like really thin line art or really thick line art? Stuff like that, you know? I do kind of... stand up. I feel like that's how I think, yeah, I feel like I would just like leave it up to you guys to decide. Because that would be the point, right? Is for your benefit of watching me torture myself. I would have to submit to your whim. Yeah. I think I could pull off really thick line art much better, but I could do both. I used to, when I was much younger, I used to do really thin line art, so... And the idea is to challenge yourself. I guess either way, it's like... point is to just try something new. Maybe I'll do like this later. That's consistent. Now the real question is, do I want to be like an purple? Oh, for goodness sake. Purple? Nah. I don't really like it. What about like a blue? Try other colors before, right? Eh, we'll just leave it black. I think black is fine. This for sure needs to be cleaned up, because these were just kind of little suggestions. We're getting there, though. And then once she's done, I'm gonna export, like, her, the visual effects on top, the background, and then this, like, water line at the bottom here. And then I will is composite the word I'm looking for? Recomposite it, put it all back together in a new canvas so that everything like clips properly, nice and clean. Instead of me hand erasing these pixels to get them exactly right, to me it just makes more sense to export them and then layer them back up so they're nice and clean. We're getting there though. Recompile. Oh yeah, maybe recompile. Yeah. Maybe that's what I'm looking for. You get what I'm saying anyway. There she is. So we worked on Lima a little bit more. Depending on how I feel, I might finish her offline. I don't know. I guess if I work on her Wednesday, that's not too far off. And then we drew Popey. Popey was our warm-up. It's so cute. Thanks! I'm really liking how I came out. It's been nice to redraw older pieces. Popey! I feel like, I've tried, like, redrawing old pieces before, but I hadn't actually, like, made much advancement in my style and my technical skills, so it was never really, like, much of an improvement between each one. But a lot of the ones that I've been doing this year have been from, like, 5 years ago. And I'm like, I can do better. Not even that I dislike the old ones. I'm like, I can do better. The old ones still have their charm. But then we made Popey. Popey. Oh, Picto Popey. I messed up her handkerchief, her little bandana. Don't look at it. We'll look at Lima. It's cute. Alright. It has been 3.5 hours, so I think that's a good stopping point. Otherwise I could sit here all day and just keep drawing. And I'm kind of hungry and thirsty and I need to go stretch, so. So we'll just call it here. We'll just say that's enough for now. And I don't know, if I play a game tomorrow, I don't know what I'm gonna play. We'll figure it out. Potentially more Paper Mario. Potentially something completely new. Maybe I'll just say fuck it and I'll just hijack Monday night and work on D&D stuff or something. And we can do like a little co-working sesh. I don't know. I don't know. Figure it out. Let's see. I'm gonna take a little sneak peek at my following tab. What's everybody doing? Oh! You know what? That's perfect. Okay, perfect. Let's go and raid Winx. Because Winx, we were talking about earlier, Winx is playing Dragon Age right now. Winx is playing Dragon Age Origins. My brain shut off for a second. See, case in point, perfect time to stop streaming is when my brain starts shutting off at the very end of it. Winx is playing Dragon Age Origins. Potentially the finale? They're doing the... Oh wait, no, they're not Origins, they're in 2. They're doing the DLC. I've actually never seen the DLC for this game. Interesting. Okay, let's go raid Winx. Oh, I hate you, new rating tab. You're the worst. I don't like it because it shows you like everyone else on Twitch. I'm like, nah, I would like to raid one of the people that I follow, please. Sometimes it's fun to find new people, but I want to go raid a friend. Okay, let's go say hi to Winx. Winx. Winx is also a PG-13 chat. I know I kind of am too. I think we're both kind of chill vibes. But just be mindful. If you are a subscriber, you can use the first raid message. If you're not, you can use the global emotes. Or you can just use your favorite emotes that you like. Your favorite raid emotes or your favorite hearts. And just go say hi. Or you can go in and lurk. I'm always a supporter of lurkers because I like to lurk. Lurking's always good. And yeah. Here's my socials. So if you want to go see more art and stuff, you can go check out my Tumbi. I chit chat a lot on Blue Sky. I keep forgetting to use Kara. I would like to though. And yeah, I think that's all I got. Let's go say hi to Winks. Winks is really cool and sweet and nice. Let's go say hi, go be nice. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Thanks for hanging out. And if I don't see you guys, then have a good rest of your week too. Go take your meds. Also, med check. I didn't BRB at all while I was streaming today, so here's your verbal med check. Go take your meds. Go get a snacky. And go be exceptional. Is that everything? Yeah. Okay. That's all I got. Bye!